Another day, another drama. Apparently, Blake Lively didn't, and Ryan Reynolds didn't attend the Golden Globe Awards because she was rejected from presenting. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about this theory, this new theory that I have that there may have been some sort of affair going on the set of It Ends With Us. We're going to get into the latest update of this Heather McDonald versus Jeff Lewis drama. And we'll talk a little bit about Jen Aydin because she made a fool of herself last week. Get ready. Let's dive in. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What's up, guys? Welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on. Oh, Kelly Williams in the live chat says, I love Zach's reporter glasses. Thank you. These are my new reporter glasses. I got them from Pear Eyewear. Guys, Pear is my new partner on the podcast. So definitely we should check out Pear Eyewear, pearwear.com, peareyewear.com, Pear Eyewear, P-A-I-R, peareyewear.com. Use code NOFILTER. I'll do an ad read later in this episode. But yeah, thank you for shouting out my glasses. I just feel like when I'm covering the legal drama, I want to look smart. And so the glasses definitely add the effect, right? It's like Justin Baldoni's crisis PR team. They're just where that's a joke, guys. I'm not actually hired by Justin Baldoni's crisis PR team because everyone's like, oh my God, you must be paid by Justin Baldoni. What's it like to be paid by Justin Baldoni? And you know what's really funny? Even though people keep saying I'm paid by Justin Baldoni. What's really funny is of all three of them, Baldoni, Blake, and Ryan Reynolds, I actually was paid by Ryan Reynolds. Because I did I'm not sure if you even remember, but I did a Mint Mobile promotion over the last summer. So actually, while all the drama was going down, I was paid to promote Ryan Reynolds Mint Mobile. So, but yeah, I highly doubt I'll be getting another Mint Mobile spot to promote anytime soon, but it's okay. I'm very proud to be working with Pear Eyewear for all of 2025. Signed a 1-year contract with them, and I'm very happy about it. So thank you, Pear. That said, we have a lot to dive into, but isn't that funny, though, that I actually was technically paid by Ryan Reynolds over Justin Baldoni? Russ says, Zach was cashing Mint checks. Yes, I was. I was cashing that. Actually, I was going to say, wait, haven't they paid me? They did pay me. Took them a while, but they did pay me. But so, yes, thank you for appreciating the glasses. Everyone who doesn't like her must be getting paid. Yeah, clearly. Everyone that's critical of Blake Lively, we're just all getting paid at this point. But thank you guys so much. I saw that over the weekend, we were number 15 on the Apple Top 100 charts for the podcast. And then we hit 3 international Spotify charts over the weekend. Spotify charts are a lot harder to reach than the Apple charts. The Apple charts, I feel like at this point have become a lot easier. But I was number 10 on the Spotify charts in Australia. So shout out to the Aussies. Number 49 in the Spotify top 50 in the UK, and number 21 on the Spotify charts in the US. So number 10, number 21, and number 49. Thank you, guys. Oh, and the number 15 on Apple. So thank you. Please keep leaving reviews if you're enjoying the content. Keep it coming. Let's get it. Yeah, we have a lot to dive into today. I know we read all of the lawsuits. We read all through Blake Lively's initial complaint. I know it's now become an official lawsuit that she's filed in New York. I think we touch on it in Friday's episode of the podcast about the anti-SLAPP laws and how they're different in California versus different in New York. But I found it interesting that Blake Lively filed her original complaint in California, and people are like, well, oh, she filed the legal complaint because that was, she was trying to she was seeking the right to sue Justin Baldoni in California. And it's okay, right. That's the precursor. That's the prerequisite to filing that lawsuit, sure, in California. But then we saw she ended up filing it as a federal case in the state of New York. So it's now a case in New York, which is interesting. And since Justin Baldoni filed his lawsuit in California. So that's why it's all very strange. So Blake Lively is suing Justin Baldoni and co. out of New York, federal lawsuit, which means we won't be seeing this play out the way Amber Heard and Johnny Depp played out on television. It likely will not be televised. So yeah, when when were the Golden Globe nominations announced versus when she files? We'll get into that in just a sec. But that's what I found so interesting about the fact. But we went through her full legal complaint. We read through all of it. So everyone's like, why are you only giving Justin's side of the story? It's like we went through her side already. And at that point, everybody was like, hashtag believe Blake, hashtag times up part two. And I was the only one that was reading through the lawsuit line by line because despite, what most people don't realize is I've actually been reading celebrity lawsuits for a couple of years now. It started with the Girardi trial, or yeah, well, before it was a trial, when it was just a big legal scandal. I started reading all legal documents back then. So I've been doing this for a few years now. Which is why I questioned how accessible and easy her legal complaint was. And it felt like a PR strategic move. The fact that the New York Times got tipped off about it, which I'll remind you guys, New York Times, Harvey Weinstein, Rose McGowan story with Ronan Farrow, very strategic to pick the New York Times to leak this legal complaint to. But I'm still confused. There's a lot of legal strategy that's going on here that I haven't fully been able to understand, right? Like, why is Baldoni suing the New York Times first and he's suing in California? Is it just because he wants the information out there? Because then you also have to realize a lot of the quote unquote evidence that's presented in these lawsuits, um, which once you let everything kind of like settle in, it makes you question these legal strategies because a lot of their lawsuits and a lot of what they use in the lawsuits are text messages as proof, right? Baldoni's PR team, their text messages is what Blake used, which was interesting. And then Baldoni uses his own text messages with Blake Lively, uses text messages with his own team, uses text messages with crew members that are talking about what a nightmare Blake Lively is to work with, right? She's firing editors because she doesn't like their edits. She's bringing in new editors. She's driving up the budget. She's undermining the wardrobe director. So all of these things that we're seeing play out, which it's very messy. And I think I came up with a strategy. Um, I think and this is my own conjecture, right? This is my own sort of speculation, but hear me out, okay? Hear out this theory. Well, the legal strategies I'm still trying to figure out, but I'm thinking that there has to be something that is stemmed a lot deeper, right? Because there's a piece of this puzzle that we're not getting. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I analyze it, the more I read through and like have allowed both of their lawsuits to kind of digest. I don't know if I necessarily believe that she was harassed. Now, like I said from the beginning, misconduct, sure. Were there inappropriate comments that he made? Probably. Was there some behavior that she felt was unsavory? Sure. Do I believe that she's maybe exaggerating some of these things now, given the context and the additional messages that we've gotten? Mm, I don't know, right? And so many people are like, well, can't she be, terrible? Because it's really come out in his lawsuit that she's terrible to work with on set and she's a nightmare and she's a diva and all these things. And people are like, well, she can be a diva and she can still have been harassed. And it's like, that's absolutely true. You can be a diva and still be harassed. But when you typically look at how these things play out on the set, right? Taking Harvey Weinstein, for example, because that's another one that people want to relate it to is the Harvey Weinstein case. And how I remember one person was like, oh my God, the way Ryan Reynolds stepped in to stand up against Justin Baldoni reminded me of when Brad Pitt stood up for Gwyneth Paltrow when he was, calling out Harvey Weinstein. And I'm like, what? What do you think? You just fell out of a coconut tree? Like, huh? I was very confused by it because you have to understand there are power dynamics that are usually at play here. And when you look at the hierarchy of this set of It Ends With Us, who had the most power on that set? Blake Lively. If she allegedly had, gotten rid of a composer and gotten rid of an editor, why couldn't she have gotten rid of the director? If anything, it was easier to let go of Baldoni than it would have been, or to remove him or to have somebody else fill in as a director or whatever. It would have been less costly to cut Baldoni than it would have been to cut Blake Lively. Blake Lively was the bigger name. Blake Lively had Ryan Reynolds in her court. Blake Lively brought her husband in to help make tweets to the script and then to, allegedly berate. And even though TMZ reported that he didn't berate to him, he just spoke very sternly and was angry. And it just makes you think, huh? Why is Ryan Reynolds getting so involved? why is Blake Lively, like, why does this feel so personal? Why are there these undertones of some sexual tension between the two of them? Is it possible that one of them caught feelings? I was discussing this with my friend Donna Bowling from Daily Dose of Donna because she texted me and she's like, do you think that they caught feelings? And I'm like, it's so funny that you're saying that because I was thinking this for, you know, a while, you know? Samantha in the live chat says, Zach, it's so she can't claim retaliation by filing against the time first. He's clearing his name and not retaliating. Yes. Oh, well, that's smart. That's a good point as to why he's suing the Times before he sues her so that she can't claim that it's retaliation. Good point. Because he's suing them by saying that the facts are incorrect. Smart. That's actually a smart strategy. Anyway, if you look at their chemistry, thank you, Samantha, for adding that in because that does make sense. If you look at this, if you watch the film, which I did, and I watched the film before any of the controversy, legal scandal came out, right? I think I watched it the night before her filing came out, or maybe a night or two before. Um, if you watch it, you'll notice that they have strong chemistry. There's some tension there. And then if we look at the history of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they met on the set of The Green Lantern. At the time that they were working together on the set of The Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds was married to Scarlett Johansson and Blake Lively was dating Penn Badgley. Okay. Then next thing you know it, and this is taking place, filming production for the film is taking place in 2010, which conveniently by the end of 2010, Ryan Reynolds' marriage is end and they end up filing for divorce. His marriage comes to an end with Scarlett Johansson by the end of 2010, and Penn Badgley gets broken up with by Blake Lively by the end of 2010. So both Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively working together on the Green Lantern in 2010. By the end of the year, both of their relationships end. And then coming into the next year, right after the divorce is finalized, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds confirm that they're officially dating. And then they get married, what, less than 2 years later? So there were a lot of rumors and speculation that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had an affair and that it was possible that he was cheating on Scarlett Johansson. She was possibly cheating on Penn Badgley. Like these things happen all the time. I have one friend, he's a friend now. I've worked with him for many, many years, and he does a lot of my production. And he was married, and him and his wife were both in production. And then next thing they got married, and next thing you know, it she like goes away. She's working on set on assignment, and people don't realize like when you're on these production sets, you're isolated from the rest of the world essentially because you're working with the team, the crew, and the people that you're around, right? And so conveniently after she came back from working on said project, she ended up, wanting out of her marriage, filing for divorce. Um, and then next thing you know it, she happens to be dating this guy that she worked with very closely during that production. So it's not, uncommon that these things happen. I remember seeing him being like, homie, do you think she cheated on you? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, don't you think it's a little convenient that like she spent all of this time with this guy and then suddenly she comes back from this project and now she wants to divorce you? And now she's dating that other guy and now she's engaged to that other guy. I was like, that sounds a little fishy. If you ask me, I would have married Kate and Ashley. So I think that it's very likely that there was some sort of tension there, whether they both caught feelings for each other, whether she caught feelings for him and maybe he rejected her. Like there are rumors that she was involved in an entanglement and an affair on the Green Lantern. We haven't heard about any entanglements with him. Obviously, they're both married, but like that would make sense if there were some feelings involved and then suddenly she feels rejected or it doesn't work out or whatever and then now she wants to take over the film and she's really flexing her weight more than what she needed to. And some people were like, well, she was a producer on the film, of course she should have some sort of creative input and a hostile takeover, two very different things, right? Especially because going into it they gave her the executive producer title more as a vanity title, right? To you know which is common in a lot of these films with the lead actor or the lead actress. So I don't think that it was more of like a real, and I'm sure they would take some of her feedback into consideration, but you see how much she overstepped. And they said in her contract, there was a scope of work that she was expected to do as the producer. And none of that went beyond, and what she ended up doing on set went well beyond the scope of work that she was, outlined to be doing um, as the what do you call it? Producer. So, I don't know. Norma, Norma, who's an actress herself, says location love is very commonplace, which is why Julie Roberts dated guys that she worked with. She said she never had time to date others because she was working all the time. And you think about it, Ryan Reynolds was off filming Deadpool, and then you have Blake Lively, who's working very intimately with Justin Baldoni. It's not unlikely, it's not uncommon to think that this could have happened, right? Because it happens very commonly all the time. That's why you see co-stars working together all the time. Zendaya and Tom Holland. Somebody texted me and said that they got engaged. Did that actually happen? Um, Let me confirm that before I go and spread. Yeah, it was just reported on People this morning. Zendaya and Tom Holland are engaged. Yeah, see, they met on the set of Spider-Man. Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. So there you go. Because think about it, Ryan Reynolds was way too fucking involved in this shit. He's rewriting some of their love scenes together. Ryan Reynolds, like, why do you need to be rewriting your wife's love scenes on a film you have no bearing over? You're not a producer, you're not a writer, you're not credited in any way on this film. Why are you secretly rewriting scenes? Why are you berating this director in front of the executives just because why you think that he fat shamed your wife, which also not nice, right? But from Justin Baldoni's side of the story, he didn't fat shame Blake Lively. He claims he asked what her weight was because he was going to have to lift her in a scene, and that's why he asked her trainer, and the trainer went to her, and the trainer disclosed it however the trainer disclosed it, and then it got taken apart, and Blake Lively was suddenly fat shamed. Whatever. So yeah, it just Ryan Reynolds way too involved. Maybe he knows like these things happen. He was on set. He fell in love with Blake Lively while he was married. He knows that these things can happen. Ryan Reynolds, big ego, wants to make sure he's flexing his big dick in Hollywood. You know, Jared Byrne makes a good point. Ryan Reynolds made a victim blaming joke on his latest Mint commercial. Seems pretty dumb with all that's going on. I wonder if JB could use it as evidence. Oh, I didn't see that, but what I did see was there was a scene in Deadpool, um, where he like makes fun of, he makes some joke that people are thinking is in reference to Justin Baldoni. Um, what was it, Liverpool or Nice Pool? There was something where he was like, "I'm a good guy, and don't worry, I couldn't be mean to a woman because I'm a feminist." And people are like, "Oh, well, Justin Baldoni's constantly calling himself a feminist," and we know that this was, you know, people just felt like it may have been a dig that was made at Justin Baldoni, considering there are rumors that Ryan Reynolds behaved similarly to how Blake Lively behaved on the set of It Ends With Us, and he, flexed his weight around the set as well. I don't know. I don't. I don't. Yep. Irrelevant Fontons says, yeah, why is Ryan Reynolds all over everything? Because he doesn't trust Blake Lively. I mean, Jasmine says, I'm going through postpartum. I bet she did catch feelings from him. Listen, and that's the other thing, because people keep bringing in the postpartum, right? Which can mess with your hormones. It can mess with your emotions. Like, and we know that, right? So to give her the benefit of the doubt, because also, it could be that because she was going through postpartum, um, possibly postpartum depression, possibly postpartum anxiety. We've seen Sheena on Vanderpump Rules talk about like there's a lot more than just depression that you can have postpartum. And so it's very likely that um, there's more to why she was having certain feelings or why she was behaving a certain way. Because people are like, well, it's not uncommon that she had all of the wardrobe shuttled to her because she was just had a baby and she wanted to be home with her baby. And I'm like, okay, you really want to tell me that they don't have nannies that can watch the babies for an hour, or that she couldn't bring the baby with her, or I'm just like, you know, it's just um so yeah, I don't know. There's just too much. There's too much here that you would like. Also, if the level of harassment was so bad and so pervasive, then like why? And Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively do have all this power. Why not get him fired from the film? Like why? Like that's the part that's just very strange to me. Liverpool is what they called him. Yeah, right. Is that what they called him? Or are you making fun of me? Postpartum movie thievery. I mean, people are also saying she's a Virgo, and because she's a Virgo, that she, is just very particular about what she likes and how she wants it. I think she's a diva, and I think she's always been a diva. And I think it's very likely that was it Nice Pull? They called him Nice Pull. I'm Nice Pull because I'm a feminist, so I can never be mean to. Yeah, that was the joke that they made um, in Deadpool. Because it's just the situation is too messy, right? There are too many details. There's too much, like, at this point, you're grabbing all of these text messages and throwing out there and trying to air all the dirty laundry. And it's like, let's try to ruin each other. But I also want to say this. Blake Lively's reputation since this filing has absolutely taken a much bigger hit than it did during this alleged smear campaign that she wants to claim happened, which again, we still have absolutely zero proof of. And even when it comes to the evidence that she admitted, a lot of the evidence that they're both using are text messages. And any smart lawyer will know that text messages technically are considered hearsay. Now, there are certain provisions that can allow text messages to be admissible, but for the most part, text messages are considered hearsay. So it sounds like they're leaking these text messages through their lawsuits with the intention of trying to craft the narrative, which seems to be in an effort to manipulate the public. Especially since they both made their lawsuits so easy for the public to access, and they put all of these texts in there. I think that's their way of trying to manipulate uh, the public's influence on both sides, on Blake's side and on Baldoni's side. And right now, it's really a game of chess in terms of who is actually going to be the winner at the end of this. Like, but I do think that um, her reputation has really, really, really taken a hit, much bigger than it was before. If anything, like this really, not only is it hurting her reputation, but I also feel like it's also hurting Ryan Reynolds' reputation as well. And I feel like he's going to go down with her. But let's talk about the Golden Globes, because apparently we see that Blake and Ryan Reynolds did not attend the Golden Globes, but apparently there's more to that story, and there's a new theory that has been presented, and I'm very interested in what your thoughts are on this. But dun, 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 before we dive into that, we've all heard of a new year, new you a million times, but why just stick to one version? Pear Eyewear has tons of shapes and styles to match any new vibe or hyperfixation, so you can keep things new. You can switch up your look anytime you want. Base frames, like I have on right now, these cute base frames are starting at just $60, including your prescription. So if you want prescription glasses, you can get prescription glasses, you can get sunglasses, you can get blue light blocking glasses. These are blue light blocking glasses. I like to wear these at night, especially if I'm working on the computer or I'm on my phone, because hello, big part of my job is social media. But listen, base frames like the ones I'm wearing right now start at just $60, and they include your prescription, and you can get an additional 15% off when you use code no filter at Pear Eyewear. No filter, code no filter at Pear, P-A-I-R eyewear, EYEWEAR.com, paireyewear.com. They have tons of collabs. They have Disney collabs. They have like Mickey Mouse and Friends, the Met, Marvel. If you want to support Ryan Reynolds and you're like, let's go Marvel, they have all sorts of different types of collections that really fit your style. These to me just I feel like make me look like a smart reporter, even though I'm not a real reporter. I'm just a podcaster. But they do make me feel smart. They're budget friendly without having to compromise on style or quality. Like, look at how chic I look right now, right? So, you can try your insurance reimbursements. You can definitely switch up your styles because there are different toppers that I forgot my toppers outside the studio, but I can switch these same frames into sunglasses. I can switch the frames out if I want to try a different style. It's really just super customizable, and you can find your perfect frame to match what you look like wearing them. So one thing that I thought was really cool is I went on the paireyewear.com website, and you can literally take a photo of yourself, and they will show you what you look like before you even have to order the glasses and get them sent to you. You can see how they look on you, which I thought was super cool. So show off your new side, show off new sides of yourself this year. Now that the holidays are back and we're into a fresh 2025, go to paireyewear.com and use code NOFILTER for 15% off your first pair. And support the show by mentioning that No Filter with Zack Peter sent you in your post-checkout survey, okay? Let them know in the little survey once you finish your order, let them know Zack Peter sent me, No Filter with Zack Peter. But head on over to paireyewear.com. That's PAIR eyewear.com. Use code NOFILTER. All right, let's talk about, I've seen ads for those, but Zack makes them look way cooler. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have lots of fun theories. I think Ryan is in cahoots with her. I don't think that she would have filed if he was not involved in this plan. So if his reputation is also being smeared, it's on him. I don't think they expected the public to turn on them the way that the public has turned on them, though. Ryan has a reputation for being controlling, nothing like what he shows the public. Yeah. Oh, did you hear what the Brutalist director hinted at regarding the situation during the Golden Globes? I did not. I didn't watch the Golden Globes. So we'll see. Did you see Meghan Markle's new Netflix show? I did. It looks so out of touch. I'm not interested in Meghan Markle at all. I've had my critiques about Meghan and Harry. But yeah. Leo says the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni drama is just hotter than the Oscars. I didn't even watch the show last night. Well, last night was not the Oscars. It was the Golden Globes. And yes, Nikki Glaser was, I saw her opening monologue on X, and I thought it was really funny. There were some like still shots or clips. I was like, oh, Nikki, this looks cringe. And then I watched her opening monologue and I was like, okay, she's actually really good. And I like Nikki Glaser as the host. I think the last host that I really liked of the Globes was it Ricky Gervais? He did the Globes, right? Ricky Gervais was really good. And I feel like that's probably why so many people are becoming less and less interested in these award shows, is because we're just past this point of caring, about the celebrity circle jerk where everyone's just like, oh my God, I'm so amazing. Oh my God, I'm so amazing. Like, it was better and it was fun when you had like Ricky Gervais who was trolling everybody in the room, right? Because it's like, we know that these people are wearing very expensive clothes. We know that they're all jerking each other off over these awards. We know that they're getting paid millions and millions of dollars to promote these films. And it's really just like Hollywood patting itself on the back. I used to love award shows. I used to be all down for it, but it was because I also loved Ricky Gervais kind of trolling them, right? And then you had Joan Rivers the next day who had Fashion Police and like all of that, I think. And Joan Rivers made a good point. She's like, you get paid millions and millions of dollars to wear these dresses, and yet you're just, and you're going to be sad that I said that you didn't look great in this dress this one time. Like, I get it. And I just think people are getting tired of that luster of, drooling over celebrities and thinking they're the best thing since sliced bread. I think people are just tired of it. So, yeah. But that said, Blake Lively apparently wanted to not moderate. She wanted to present at the Golden Globes, and her team at WME. So there's this new I haven't been able to fully confirm this, but I did reach out to the guy that was posting about it, because I'm like, where did you get this information? But so there's this guy, Eric, on X. His name is Eric B. And he said Blake Lively will not be presenting at Sunday's Golden Globes, despite it ends with us pulling in 351 million worldwide. CBS, Paramount Plus, and producers reportedly fear her appearance could turn audiences off, and they can't afford to gamble with ratings after last year's slump. Since the disastrous It Ends With Us press tour, Blake Lively hasn't booked a single new project. Directors are cautious and producers aren't calling, and WME is reportedly scrambling to land her roles. For now, it seems Hollywood's doors are politely closed. See, I get that, right? I think Blake Lively really should have just taken the L and just been like, listen, let's lay low, do the Anne Hathaway thing, do the Katherine Heigl thing. Let's lay low. Let's just let the bad press die down, and eventually we'll move on. What is WME? WME is William Morris Endeavor. It's a talent rep, an agency that like her talent agent. So they apparently wanted to book her as a presenter at the Globes, and the Globes decided it wasn't going to be a good look, or they didn't want it. or at least this is what the report is saying, is that the Globes didn't want to book her despite her being in It Ends With Us. But It Ends With Us was not nominated. Deadpool and Wolverine, which is Ryan Reynolds' new film with Hugh Jackman, that was nominated. However, Reynolds didn't attend, Hugh Jackman didn't attend, and Blake Lively did not attend. We did see Hugh Jackman all over the red carpets for It Ends With Us at the premiere. So there's a close relationship with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. And I'm thinking maybe they didn't want to go to show that like they're two power hitters that aren't going to show up, in response. I don't know. Page Six had a source that claims that Blake and Ryan didn't attend or that this decision was made in advance. It was made long before she filed her lawsuit, which I mean, but they're trying to make it seem like it has nothing to do with the lawsuit. But also, you don't file a lawsuit overnight, right? Like the lawsuit was in preparation for some time, at least a couple of weeks, were they putting this lawsuit together or putting together the legal complaint. And I believe the lawsuit was already ready and on deck because the second Justin Baldoni filed his lawsuit against the New York Times, Blake Lively immediately had her lawsuit that was filed and leaked shortly after. So I don't know. Leo says Anne Hathaway clocked in and quickly went quick what? I don't know what that says. Something dropped a video of her and she apologized with the quickness so that she wouldn't get dragged. Yeah. See, Anne Hathaway, I think, has learned to read the room. She was the one actress that everyone was like, she's so out of touch and nobody likes her and she's like rude and all these things. And she, again, knew when to read the room and knew when to keep it moving, right? And now she's back and it's fine, Gwen Mendez says. I think Ryan found out something inappropriate happened, and this is a way to him publicly to humiliate Blake Lively and gain control over the relationship. I don't think he's trying to hurt Blake's reputation. I don't think, because Ryan Reynolds, like if he hurts Blake, his own wife's reputation, it's going to in turn hurt his reputation, which is what we're seeing. So I don't think that I disagree with that theory. Norma says producers and directors see Baldoni's case as a cautionary tale. Think to before working with them. It makes sense. WME dropped Baldoni. She was behind it. Yeah, I always thought that even if she didn't tell them to drop Baldoni, like Hollywood is so performative, and that's why you saw all these celebrities that now look like fucking losers for coming and being like, "Oh my God, we stand with Blake," before getting the other side of the story. Right. And I get it. But like Hollywood's so fucking fake and performative. And that's why WME went and they did the 2020 thing where they're like, let's drop Baldoni right away without doing any sort of internal investigation and looking into these claims and yada, yada, yada. And they knew that there was a lot more money behind Blake and Ryan than there would be with Baldoni, because now Baldoni's reputation is about to take a big hit. And we believed that he was going to be the next Harvey Weinstein. But again, I remind you, in these cases of harassment, there's usually a hierarchy. You don't pick the highest, the biggest star on set and then be like, yeah, I'm going to harass that. You're going to pick the PA. You're going to pick the intern that you can flex over and power and bully into silence. You're not going to pick the big actress with, who's the biggest diva on set. And if she's already difficult to work with, why are you then going to be like, you know what, let me go harass her. She seems like she's going to keep quiet. Like, what? Like, what coconut tree did you fall out of? Like, the more you think about it, the less and less it makes sense. And then you see the manipulation of the text messages in her lawsuit, with the removing of the emoji and the changing the context and, inviting her into her dressing room while she's pumping, but then oh, now I'm uncomfortable because now I'm breastfeeding. And then you have Jamie Heath going on record and saying, well, actually, she asked for a meeting. I came in, it was with me and a female producer and someone else. And we wanted to talk to her. And we're like, is now a bad time? And she's like, no, you can come in, blah, blah, blah. She was having makeup removed from her collar. Remember, she was saying that she was naked and she was exposed. And I was like, why is there makeup on her tits? Like, wouldn't you put the makeup on her shoulder? Like, usually when you do body makeup, it's on the legs, right? It's on the collar. Maybe in some cases it's on the arms. Like, wherever you're going to be revealing skin, you're not going to have it on your actual nipples. That's why they have pasties that cover you up when you're on set filming these things. It's just when you think about these and you put a critical lens on it, outside of the sensationalism, outside of the hype, outside of the, let's just jump into the Me Too era again. It's like we have to actually think about these things because, again, I'll remind you, we had people like Jussie Smollett, we had people like Amber Heard that manipulated things and tried to manipulate the public. Um, Lori says, Zach, is Ryan the reason why you think the co-stars acted the way they did and signed on? As in why they came out in defense of Blake Lively? Well, no, I mean, here's the thing. Blake Lively's probably not the most accessible person on the set, right? So I think a lot of these other co-stars that were coming out, they probably didn't have too deep or intimate of a relationship with her. Um, and so, they probably knew that there was drama and beef between Baldoni and Blake. And so when you hear that there's all this beef and this drama, and then there are rumors, I had people that are like, oh, I know so and so on set, and they were saying that like Blake would often like, mention little things to people about Baldoni and how he's this or how he's that and how he's, difficult or he's a jerk or whatever. And she would kind of, whisper these things in their ears, and so it would kind of, make them question some stuff. So then when the lawsuit comes out, it's like, who are you to question that, right? Like, why would you question that when you know that there's clearly some tension between the two of them? It now seems a bit plausible as to why there was tension between these two on set. Yeah. Also, Justin has the text of Blake saying, I'm pumping in my dressing room, come over to read lines. Yeah. And so, hello. And then when you think about it from the lens of like, did she possibly have feelings for him? Like, why would you casually drop something like that? Why would you be like, oh, my tits are out in the room, and like, do you want to come run lines? Like, I don't know. So I just the more I think about it, the more I question it, right? But then at the same time, I'm like, well, like, could he have been inappropriate? Could he have been trying to poke the bear? Could he? But again, when you think about the power dynamic on set, it just doesn't sound plausible that he's going to take the biggest shark on set and be like, let me go drive my little boat into the ocean. There's a giant shark. Let me go drip some of my blood into the ocean right next to this big, giant, great white shark. It doesn't make sense when you think about it, you know? Or am I crazy? Right? It's Missy said, "Zach makes it sound like a bad corn video." Yeah, a bad cornography. Um, right? I'm pumping in my I'm pumping in my what is it? In my trailer. Have you ever tried breast milk? He's like, "No, I've never tried breast milk." She's like, "Well, do I have a treat for you? It's all paleo, all keto, and 100% certified organic, made with the genes of Ryan Reynolds." What is your theory, Zach? My theory is that she caught feelings for him on the set, and maybe they did have some sort of flirtatious vibe. Maybe he shut her down, and then she felt rejected, and as a result of that, or maybe I don't know. I don't know. She has a history of making things bigger than what they are. She does. There was a woman that came out on TikTok, and she was talking about her experience. She used to work for Fuse TV, and she was like, "I used to work for Blake Lively, and or no, she worked for Fuse TV, and they were doing promotion for the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and it was on that set that that Blake had her removed as an intern because Blake, I guess, felt like she was treating her like a fan, and Blake's like, "Oh my god, it made me uncomfortable that this intern is like treating me like a fan." It's like, bitch, you should be lucky that they're treating you like fans, Chappell Roan. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. But so, yeah, and the girl's like, I was like, yeah, I think she was like 19, and she's like, "I went home on the train crying that night." She's like, "Because I didn't even talk to Blake Lively." Like, it's so strange that she said that. So, yeah. He shut her down. There are videos of the 2 of them on set absolutely show the hernia keeps his hands completely off of her. Yeah, I've seen the videos too where, of them and they're acting out and she's, like, directing him and she's, like, pulling his body into hers, and then there's the interview, where the reporter's like, "We saw you pulling your body into Baldoni's, like, directing the scene," and she's like, "Where did you see that?" It's like, paparazzi on display, on display. They caught you today." So your international news anchor says pumping breast milk is such a cheap pickup line. I know. It's like, did you fall from heaven? Did it hurt when you fell from heaven? Maybe Blake Lively emotionally cheated on Ryan Reynolds with Justin Baldoni. I mean, maybe, or maybe Ryan Reynolds was just super hypersensitive to to knowing what could go down, considering the rumors of him and Blake Lively on the set of the Green Lantern and him possibly cheating on Scarlett Johansson and leaving her for Blake Lively. You never know. But there's not a lot going on for her now, right? She doesn't have any new movies booked in the works from what we've heard or seen. The last thing she filmed was A Simple Favor 2, which is the sequel to her movie with Anna Kendrick. But that's a direct to Amazon Prime. That's a direct to streaming movie. That's not a theatrical release. So I don't know. I think she's really hurt herself. I think she really hurt her reputation with this, and people are definitely not going to be wanting to work with her for a sec. She'll possibly have a comeback, right? I have no doubt she'll be fine in the end, but I think this definitely kicked up a lot of unnecessary dirt that's really hurting her reputation and getting Ryan Reynolds really dirty in the process. Alexandra says Ryle and Lily's chemistry was very strong in the film. Atlas and Lily had none, but we are to believe that Atlas and Lily are endgame. It's clear to me. Yeah, even at the actor that played Atlas, even he didn't really seem like he was a big fan of Blake Lively's in their interviews during the promotion of It Ends With Us. He kind of seemed like he was annoyed with her. That was just the energy that I was picking up when I would watch their interviews together. But yeah. What? Zack, she even stated in her lawsuit that Justin said, "I'm not even into you." That was weird to include in the lawsuit. That's right. I forgot about that in her lawsuit. Um, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Can you please talk about the timing of her filing this before the holidays? Yeah, that was a strange move. I don't know why she decided to file before the holidays. People are saying that, well, Justin was on vacation, that so that they didn't expect him to have much of a response. I think they thought that they could strong arm him because nobody's really working around the holidays, and they weren't expecting him to have his stuff in response right away. In reacting. Um, that's possibly why. My theory too is, around the holidays, you're traveling, you're with your family, there's not a big news cycle, so you can kind of dominate the topics at the table, unless you want to sit there and talk about Trump and Kamala, you can very easily talk about Blake and Baldoni, you know, um, because that's what everyone's talking. Like, listen, that's what we're all talking about, you know. Hello, I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. Could you imagine Ryan Reynolds filing for divorce? No, I think he's gonna stick it out. I think they have to stay committed to this power couple. They're putting themselves in a corner, but it's gonna be interesting to see how this all plays out. Okay, I wanna talk about Jennifer Aydin, I wanna talk about the Heather McDonald stuff, but very quickly, I wanted to talk to you guys about BioRay. You guys know I love BioRay. I love BioRay. Little rays of health for everyone. BioRay has products that are plant medicine. They're the plant medicine that you've been looking for. Tasty liquid tincture. Sorry, my Invisalign. Tasty liquid tinctures for ease of intake. You just bloop, and then you just do a bloop. Just put some in my coffee. This right here is the BioRay Raised Thinking Cap. This is part of their new teens line. So whoever you're shopping for, BioRay has products for the whole family: infants, kids, teens, adults. They even have an intimate line. If you're feeling some of that Baldoni energy and you're just like, ooh, give me some Red Rooster, give me some Lady Passion. You can drip some of those drops into your water, your coffee, a mimosa, whatever floats your boat. You can check out BioRay. They have products for the whole family if you want to empower your wellness this new year. Also, they're having a very special promotion on their teen line, which is their Raise line. You can level up with Raise. If you purchase any 2 Raise products, you can score a free 25-ounce H2Go water bottle while supplies last, limited 1 per customer. Terms and conditions do apply, but they have 4 different products. They have Thinking Cap, which is a study buddy for a focused mind. They have Life is Peachy to help with the sugar, the crankiness and that sugar rampage, especially coming off of the holidays. They have Dream Machine if your teens are struggling to sleep. And they also have All Systems Glow, which is kind of just like a multi-nutritional boost, especially if you have picky eaters. So check out BioRay at bioray.com, BIORAY, bioray.com, and clock in the special offer when you get 2 of the BioRate Raise products. Like I said, they have Life is Peachy, Thinking Cap, Dream Machine, and All Systems Glow. They have 4 different products that you can choose from. And when you purchase 2 of them, you get a free water bottle with purchase, okay? But while supplies last, so head on over to BioRate.com right now. Use code ZACK, Z-A-C-K. Use code ZACK. Ooh, my manager's calling me. Use code ZACK for free shipping. That's Z-A-C-K, code ZACK for free shipping. Why is David calling me right now? It's either to be like, Blake and Ryan have put a hit on you. You better stop talking about them. Or he's got some good news for me. He's like, guess what? Mint Mobile just called and they want to sponsor you again. Could you imagine? So Blake and Ryan are in the swinger lifestyle. I don't know. I wonder if they were in that club with Erica Duarte. Could you imagine? I think there is a conspiracy to stop my Zack watching. Say what? Oh, your doggy goes potty. Your doggy's like, nope, I'm Team Blake on this one. Blake would have a bigger career if she wasn't married to Ryan Reynolds. I doubt that. I think Ryan Reynolds is definitely, the fame and the success that he got with the Marvel franchise. It is Marvel, right? Deadpool. But Wolverine's in it. Wolverine is Marvel, right? He's X-Men. Is X-Men DC comic? I don't know how that shit works. What is it? There's like the Marvel, and then but the X-Men was not part of the Marvel, or were they part of the Marvel? But why were they not part of the Marvel? It was like a different one. Like the Fantastic Four, aren't they? I don't know. It's very confusing. Okay, well, let's move on to, I want to talk about Heather McDonald and Jeff Lewis. Remember that drama, right? What was that, a year ago, 2 years ago at this point? We're in what, 2025? That was what, 2023, maybe 2022? Heather McDonald from Chelsea lately became really popular, successful stand-up comedian and podcaster. She has the Juicy Scoop podcast. I've been on Juicy Scoop before. Then we have Jeff Lewis from Bravo's Flipping Out. He's what was it? Is he an interior designer? Because he also like helps flip houses and design not just the interior, but like the actual like inside of the home and the restructuring. But so he used to be on Bravo's Flipping Out. He now has a Sirius XM radio show called Jeff Lewis Live. I've also been on Jeff Lewis Live. So I've been on Jeff Lewis Live. I've been on Juicy Scoop. Okay. Just want to throw that out there to say that I'm not trying to be biased towards one or the other, nor have I ever been when their drama was all playing out, because Heather McDonald had this comedian, Justin Martindale. And Justin Martindale used to appear regularly on Juicy Scoop. Then all of a sudden there was some sort of falling out with Heather McDonald and Justin Martindale. And he's like, oh my God, she doesn't even really pay people. And she's transphobic and she's all these things, right? And he had all these terrible things to blast Heather McDonald about and why he never wants to work with Heather McDonald again. And then Jeff Lewis jumped in on the fight, and he brought his friend Krista Lamas into it and talked about how, oh yeah, Heather's the worst. There were these earrings that I lent her that were like $10,000. And, Heather lost one of the earrings, even though I loaned them to her. And then Heather went on this whole, I don't want to say, like, she went on this whole investigation about the earrings, right? Because they were saying that this was grand larceny because, she committed a felony by, by not returning the earrings and like losing one of the earrings. And like, that was a lot of money. So Heather ends up writing her a check for the earrings. And she's like, oh my God, I didn't realize that these were expensive earrings. Like, what is this drama over these earrings? I didn't realize that they were so expensive. Also, why would you lend someone, earrings that are this expensive and that mean this much to you, where you're going to blast it on Sirius XM, right? Only to find out that the earrings were from Revolve and they were like $40, which is hilarious that this whole thing was about like, should we sue Heather over these really expensive earrings? Has she committed a crime? And yada, yada, yada. Slandering Heather on Jeff Lewis Live, only to then now we did earring gate, and Heather's like, they're $45, and she made a whole thing and she made merch out of it. And so Justin Martindale ended up, after he parted ways with Juicy Scoop, in part of this feud between Heather McDonald and Jeff Lewis. Jeff Lewis brought Justin Martindale over onto his show. Petty move, right? And listen, that's what Jeff Lewis is. That's what Jeff Lewis does. He's messy, right? But that's what we love about Jeff Lewis. That's why we loved him on Flipping Out. That's why people like listening to Jeff Lewis Live. But he now seems to be blowing up a lot of his relationships. And so Justin Martindale used to appear on Jeff Lewis Live. I don't know much about the Chumps. I don't listen to Jeff Lewis Live that often. But apparently there was some drama between Justin Martindale and this other person, Jade, and some drama that Justin Martindale and Jade had. And now Jeff Lewis has cut off Justin Martindale. And so now Heather McDonald went on her Patreon and did a whole 1 hour where she just gets into everything. She names names. She takes no prisoners. So I would suggest you listen to Heather's Patreon. I haven't listened to it yet, but I've heard it's very juicy. But the interesting thing is, sorry, breaking news, Justin Trudeau just resigned. Yeah, I read about that this morning. That was interesting. But so Heather did a whole Patreon where she mentions it all. And it's as the name of her podcast, Juicy Scoop. It is juicy, but I'm like, in all of this, like Jeff Lewis doesn't look great in any of it because now we see the earrings and the takedown thing and how that blew up in his face. And Heather ultimately ended up vindicated and on top again, as you know, listen, she's had a lot of battles that she's had to fight, and she always ends up on top. Good for her. I think she knows that she's a flawed person, and she, has her faults, but she kind of always owns them. But I was just thinking about it over the weekend. I'm like, Justin Martindale, what a loser. Like, he literally blew up his entire relationship and the good thing that he had going on tour with Heather McDonald and appearing on Juicy Scoop, literally blew that all up by saying she wasn't a good friend and she was transphobic. And listen, we're tired of that shit. We are so tired of people flippantly throwing out those words without any real merit to it. And I feel like at this point, like we're moving on, right? We're sick and tired of the bullshit with all these, baseless accusations, which he did. And Heather came out and she defended herself about it. But I'm just like, wow. So he ended up off Heather and off Juicy Scoop and then off Jeff Lewis and off Jeff Lewis Live. Like, and now what does he have? And then he's like turning himself. First, he was the victim with Heather. And now he's the victim again in this like drama with this Jade person because there's this beef between the two of them. And Justin Martindale's like, I'm a real stand up comedian and you're a cheater brand and whatever. It's like, what a loser. Like you totally blew up your entire everything for, and I'm sure he'll probably hear about this and it's fine. My podcast is better than his on the charts anyway. Because he hasn't, I saw he was like talking shit about me on like a YouTube or a Facebook group when the original drama first went out. It's just funny. And I'm just like, these hoes ain't loyal in these streets. Hollywood is not loyal. These hoes ain't loyal. And when you ain't loyal, it always comes back to bite you in the end. Remember all the rumors that were put out there about me and fucking people's husbands and all that shit that ended up being not true? And let's not even get back to the bourbon room story because remember all that shit? You always end up vindicated in the end when you stand in your truth. Oh, listen, I don't need to fuck anybody's husband. If I wanted your husband, I would have your husband. That's not to anybody specifically. Don't go stirring shit up. But I'm just saying. It's not hard for me to take somebody's husband, okay? Listen, I can Blake Lively the shit out of it. I can be like, hi, Justin Baldoni. Oh, hi, Ryan Reynolds. Didn't know about the Justin Jeff. It just happened like over the weekend that now Jeff has cut off Justin Martindale. I don't know him personally. I've never met him or anything. It's just like, how do you like when you like it's just it'll blow up back in your face. Always does. Oh wait. Oh, I heard that Zack has threesomes. Oh wait. I do. I love a good threesome. I love a threesome. The bourbon room story still has me shook. You went with such listen, we've moved on. We've moved on. Heather is clearly authentic and kind. Listen, I really do like Heather, and I'm glad that she's finally speaking on it. Did you guys see this shit that went down with Jennifer Aydin, Real Housewives of New Jersey? Speaking of losers, I guess she got into some altercation or some beef. She went to a Jersey Mike's, which seems very on brand for Jennifer Aydin. She went to a Jersey Mike's and ended up getting into some splat with some splat with the elderly woman that worked at Jersey Mike's, and then ends up going and posting this video online about how she's a celebrity and how dare this woman not treat her like she's like, I hope you see me on your For You page and blah blah blah. And she thought that she was like, it was Jersey Mike's at the airport. Yeah, that makes it worse. Thank you for clarifying, Norma. It was the Jersey Mike's at the airport. just like you're not even on a TV show anymore. Like you were you're basically fired from a television show. Andy Cohen laughed at you when you said that you were confirmed to return for the rebooted cast for Real Houses in New Jersey. Andy Cohen like basically chuckled at that. And so, come on. Missy says, I saw Jennifer Aydin. Oh girl, that was so embarrassing. Did you see the daughter clap? Yeah. Both of them are just dumb. Jennifer Aydin's always been very attention seeky, so I'm not, she's like, I'm a celebrity. Yeah. I'm not surprised that she pulled this stunt and that the audience has turned on her. When people like, I didn't even want to talk about it because everybody's just like, have you seen it? Have you seen it? I can't wait to hear your thoughts. My thoughts are she's a fucking loser that's out of a job. You know who's still winning? Melissa Gorga with her sprinkle cookies. She just posted an Instagram showing off all her boxes of sprinkle cookies. Listen, I said that I wasn't sure if the sprinkle cookies were going to take off. I had my critiques about them. I thought that she should have just like made them somehow more unique. But listen, she's doing her thing, and I can say I did not expect them to be as popular as they are. I just thought, she should have leaned into how she should have done something that really played them up a bit more, but she was showing they were boxes and boxes and boxes and orders that are going out, and people seem to really like them. My friend Jacques, who's a writer at the Daily Mail, he really liked them. So you know what? You get it, girl. Good for you. I think that's everything. Wow, we really got through a lot. Like really got through a lot. Ooh, I have this group. Oh my God, my phone's blowing up because this group thread, I'm doing this, it's I'm doing the 75 hard challenge. Have you guys heard of that? It's like for 75 days straight. We've all kind of tweaked it, but we have a group that's doing it. And so I've agreed that I'm going to work out 5 times a week plus a daily 45-minute walk. I'm going to clean up my diet. So no gluten, no dairy, no added sugar, no processed food, no alcohol. That's going to be the hardest part for 75 days is no alcohol. Like that's going to make my heart so sad. I'm going to up my water intake. I'm going to do 10 pages of daily reading, usually a self-help book. I started how to win friends and influence people because I want to like totally, Blake Lively my way through life. And then 10 minutes of daily meditation in the morning. Or I guess just daily meditation, whether it's in the morning or in the evening. I'm clocking it at 1:57. Okay. We're at 1:57. The only part of this that I'm worried about is the no alcohol. That's truly the most devastating part. But I'm staying committed. Listen, when I'm committed, I'm committed. You're going to be straight for 75 days. Oh, that would be interesting if I went straight for 75 days. Sharon says, "Oh my God, Zach, kudos to you. I don't think I could commit to all that. It's a lot, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, girl. I was like, wow, girl's body is on point. Whose body? My body. My body's about to be snatched. You went 3.5 weeks. Oof. Being straight for 75 days is hard. Yeah. Like I said, Zack the podcaster is greater than the New York Times reporters. They're just, they're losing their journalistic integrity. And I'm like, come on. If I have more integrity than the New York fucking Times, that's embarrassing for them. All right. That's all I got for you guys. I love you. I appreciate it. Hit the like button if you're watching this and enjoying this episode. Drop a comment letting me know your thoughts. If you're watching this on Spotify or you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment below and let me know. How are you feeling about Blake and Ryan? Or have you taken a side in this? Has your mind changed? Did you think one thing? Yes, I do agree with you. Justin Baldoni's man bun is his biggest offense. Not a fan. That can I give you mocktail recipes? Please don't. I hate mocktails. I hate mocktail. I will drink a soda water, but mocktails they just make me sad, because they remind me that there's no alcohol. All right, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your week. We'll have new episodes of the Pop Report coming back this week. So be sure to tune in. Sarah Fraser is going to be on the Pop Report this week. The Pop Report is my other podcast where we dive into a lot more pop culture topics with me and my friend Andy Lawani. So be sure to tune into that, the Pop Report. And you can check out my other podcast, Disaster Daters. Like I said, if you're enjoying the podcast, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. I've seen the reviews come in. I'll do some shout outs tomorrow. But thank you guys so much for all the really sweet, kind reviews and letting people know that I don't hate I don't hate women. I don't hate women. All right, but I do love you guys. Thank you. Give me a follow at Just Plain Zack for all the latest on what's going on in my shenanigans in my life. And follow at No Filter with Zack on Instagram for all the latest reality and celebrity tea. All right, guys. Thank you. Love you. Talk to you later.